The scream wasn't loud at first. It was a sharp, disbelieving, what, that sliced through the clatter of Grandma's birthday dinner. My sister, Chloe, was staring at her phone, her face draining of color. My father's fork hit his china plate with a clang. All 15 relatives at the long table went silent, watching her. She stood up so fast her chair screeched on the hardwood. "You bought a what?" she hissed, looking directly at me. I took a slow sip of water, placed the glass down without a sound, and met her gaze. In that silent, frozen moment, I saw the story of our family, the one they'd been writing for 28 years, finally cracked down the middle. The ask wasn't for me. It was for my education. I was 17, a senior with decent grades, and a vague dream of studying design. My guidance counselor had pulled me aside, said I had a real shot at a good state school if I applied for early decision. The application fee was $75. The portfolio weekend for the design program, an hour's train ride away, cost another $100 for travel and fees. I brought it up on a Sunday. Chloe was at the kitchen island, complaining about the color of her new BMW, a high school graduation gift that had arrived 3 months early. "It reads more pearl than alpine white," she sighed to our dad. He nodded, already reaching for his checkbook. "We'll get it wrapped. Whatever you want, princess." I waited for a pause. I had printed out the fee schedule. "There's this portfolio review." I started. "It's for the design program at State. It costs $100 to register and for the train. I can cover half from my grocery store job, but..." My dad didn't look up from the check. He was writing to the auto detailer. "Your sister's college orientation is that weekend. We'll all be in Boston. You know that. It's on Friday. The review. You guys aren't leaving until Saturday." My mom, chopping vegetables, made a soft TSK sound. "Honey, that's such a hassle. A train by yourself? And State's design program. Is that even a ranked school?" Chloe's counselor said only the top 20 programs are worth the debt. The refusal wasn't allowed. No, it was a quiet dismissal buried under the weight of Chloe's pre-existing plans. The $100 wasn't the issue. The BMW wrap would cost $3,000. It was about focus. Their focus had a single, shining subject. I really think it could help my chances. I said, my voice thinner than I wanted. Dad finally looked at me over the top of his glasses. It was the look of a man solving a logistical problem. "Tell you what, apply regular decision. If you get in, we'll talk. But your sister's freshman year setup is the priority right now. You understand." I understood. I'd always understood. The pattern was the wallpaper of our house. When I was 10 and needed braces, it was a cosmetic expense we can delay. When Chloe turned 13 and wanted her teeth whitened, it was booked the next week. My college fund was the leftover $529 after Chloe's tuition, books, and semester abroad fees were deducted. It covered exactly 2 years at the local community college I ended up attending. I took the printed fee schedule back to my room. I didn't cry. I filed it in a drawer. I looked at my reflection in the dark window. I saw myself, not as a disappointed daughter, but as a line item on a budget that had already been maxed out on a single premium subscription. That night, I opened a new secret bank account online with the $200 I'd saved. I labeled it Exit Strategy. The montage of my invisibility played on a loop I learned to watch dispassionately. At 14, I broke my wrist during a gym class. The ER nurse asked about pain management. My mother, checking her phone for Chloe's ballet pickup time, said, "She's tough, just the basic." The bill for the brace came to my part-time job mailbox. At 16, I won a regional essay contest. The ceremony was on the same night as Chloe's Model UN cocktail party. My certificate arrived in the mail, bent. No frame was ever bought. The erasure was in the family lore. In stories, I was a footnote. The girls, my dad would say, launching into a tale about Chloe's debate trophy. Photos on the mantel were of her graduations, her trips to Greece, her smiling beside the BMW. I was in the background of some blurry, usually holding someone's coat. On social media, my mother's albums were titled Chloe's Paris Adventure or My Shining Star at College Move-In. I was tagged, maybe twice, always in group shots where I looked like a guest. I tried, for a while, to participate. I'd suggest a movie for all of us. Chloe hates thrillers, I'd be told. I'd mention a new restaurant. Your sister's palate is too refined for sushi that isn't omakase. My dad would chuckle. At Thanksgiving, I brought a pie I'd made from scratch. It sat next to the store-bought one until dessert. My aunt cut into the store one first. "We know this is a safe bet," she smiled. My pie was wrapped in foil and sent home with me. The shift happened on a Tuesday. It wasn't dramatic. I was scrolling through yet another album of Chloe in Aspen. I felt nothing. Not hurt, not jealousy. A deep, hollow exhaustion. The kind that makes your bones feel heavy. I closed the app. I opened the notes on my phone. I didn't write feelings. I wrote data. August 12th, Dad paid Chloe's overdue parking tickets, $420. My request for help with textbook invoice, $237, was a lesson in financial responsibility. October 3rd, family group chat planning Christmas in St. Bart's. I am not asked about dates. I am informed. Asterisk November 15th. Mom asked me to dog sit Chloe's new doodle while she's in Miami. No offer of payment. It's family. Asterisk. I wasn't collecting grievances. I was conducting an audit. The balance sheet of our family was finally coldly clear. I was a liability they tolerated. She was the asset they invested in. The emotion didn't return. In its place was a crystalline focus. Every extra shift I worked, every freelance design gig I scraped from the internet, every skipped coffee, it wasn't sacrifice anymore. It was capital. For my exit strategy, I stopped trying to be seen. I became a ghost, silently building a new life brick by brick in the shadows of their inattention. The audacity arrived wrapped in velvet on Grandma's 85th birthday. The request wasn't for me. It was about me, but for her. We were at the long rental hall table, halfway through dry chicken and polite conversation. Chloe, now 28 and between ventures, held the floor. She was explaining her latest idea, a lifestyle brand for minimalist luxury. She needed seed money. It's about curation, not consumption, she said, waving her fork. A $50,000 investment gets us the initial capsule collection. Dad, you said you could talk to your golf buddy, who does angel investing. My dad nodded, chewing slowly. We can make the introduction. Then Chloe turned to me. It was the first time her eyes had properly met mine all night. She offered a sweet, sisterly smile. And you, sis, you're so creative. You could do the branding, the visuals. We'd pay you, of course. Once we're profitable, it would be such a great opportunity for your portfolio. The air grew thick. They were all looking at me, my mother, with hopeful encouragement, my dad with benign expectation. This was my script: be the supportive, useful background character. Use my little skills to help the stars shine brighter. I dabbed my mouth with my napkin. I placed it neatly on my lap. I'm afraid I can't, I said. My voice was calm, flat. A door closing gently. Chloe's smile didn't falter. It tightened. Why not? You're just doing those freelance things, right? This could be a real project. My plate is full, I said. I didn't justify. I didn't argue that I'd paid my own way through a real degree while she'd majored in social capital. I didn't defend my career. I just stated a fact. My father cleared his throat, the peacemaker sound. Now, honey, this could be a nice chance for you sisters to collaborate, help family out. That's when my phone, face up on the table, lit up. A notification, preview slid across the screen. It was from my real estate agent, Sarah. Sarah, the penthouse keys are yours. Welcome to 82nd Street. The view is even better at night. Congrats again. I saw Chloe's eyes drop to the screen. I saw them scan the words. I saw the exact moment her brain processed them. Her smile vanished. Her face went blank, then slowly flooded with a deep, incredulous red. What? She whispered, not a question. Then louder. What? She snatched my phone off the table before I could move. She stared at it, her thumb swiping as if to dismiss a mirage. You bought a penthouse. Her voice was a low, shaking wire. In the city? My father's fork clattered onto his plate. The entire table froze. All conversation died. Chloe stood up, the chair screaming behind her. She wasn't looking at the phone anymore. She was staring at me with pure, uncomprehending fury. With what money? How could you possibly? Her sentence spiraled into a wordless, sharp inhalation of rage. This wasn't about the branding job anymore. This was about the universe violating its natural order. In the dead silence that followed her scream, my Aunt Linda, who had married well and said very little, took a slow sip of her wine. She didn't look at Chloe. She looked directly at my father, her voice clear and dry as bone. Well, James, she said, it seems you invested in the wrong daughter. The silence that followed wasn't just quiet. It was atomic. The silence in the car on the way home was a physical thing. My father drove, his knuckles white on the wheel. My mother stared straight ahead, as if navigating a storm. Chloe had left in a separate Uber, text blasting the family group chat with crying emojis. And, how could you keep this from us? I muted the chat. I looked out the window at the passing streetlights. I felt nothing but a profound, weary relief. The secret was out. I was finally, undeniably, real. The unraveling didn't need my help. Systems have their own gravity. Chloe's minimalist luxury brand never found its angel investor. My father's golf buddy, it turned out, had read the market trends. I heard through my cousin that Chloe moved back home 6 months later, her credit cards maxed, talking about a rebrand. My parents, in their late 60s, were now supporting an adult daughter with champagne tastes on a fixed-income reality. The money they'd always said wasn't there for me was being drained in monthly installments for her car payment, her life coach, her networking lunches. I didn't block them. I just distanced. I replied to texts days later with polite, uninformative answers. I'm well, thank you. Work is busy. When my mother called, voice thin, to ask if my building had a guest suite for when we visit, I told her truthfully, it didn't. I didn't offer to pay for a hotel. The silence on her end was its own answer. I saw my father once, about a year later, in a department store near the men's watches. He looked older. He was holding a box, comparing the price tag to something on his phone. He saw me and flinched, a small, almost imperceptible jerk of his shoulders. We stood there, surrounded by the smell of polished wood and new leather. "Hello, Dad," I said. "Your mother says the view is impressive," he said, not meeting my eyes. He was holding a watch meant for a much younger man. A gift, I realized, for a boyfriend of Chloe's he was trying to impress. "It is," I agreed. I didn't ask how he was. I already knew. He nodded, looked at the watch in his hand, then slowly put it back in the case. "Well," he said, "take care." "You too," I said, and I walked away toward the exit, toward the noisy, anonymous street. The victory isn't in the penthouse. Anyone can buy a space. The victory is in the quiet inside it. My home isn't grand. It's a one-bedroom with good light. But every object in it is mine, chosen by me, paid for by me. No one visits. No one asks me for a thing. Some evenings, I stand at the window, looking at the city lights, and I listen to the silence. It's not the silence of being forgotten. It's the silence of being free. And for the first time in my life, the story that matters is the one I'm living, not the one I was written into.